Yo, yo, yo. What is up, people? Let's see if we can get a few people here before we start. Let's see if we can make sure everything is going correctly here. Let me open the chat in a new window. Well, we got Jake's here. Armando. What's up, guys? Is everything coming through okay? You can hear me, you can see me, all those good things. Just making sure. Wow, we got people popping in from all over the place. Awesome. Tobias, what's up, buddy? So, everything sound good? Everything look okay? I just want to make sure that everything is set up correctly. I had some issues last time I was doing this. So I wanted to make sure this time it looks better and hopefully works better, which would be great. I'm trying this like 60 frames a second capture, which is kind of cool. So it should be like nice and like fast, which is pretty dope. So yeah, good to see everybody here, people popping in. So yeah, why are we having this happy hour? And you know, it's not really much of a happy hour. I just have water. It's not very exciting, I'm afraid. So I hope somebody out there has something much more exciting than me. But hopefully you're somewhere where it's 5 o'clock and you're able to have a nice drink and relax on a Wednesday, which, you know, obviously it's the middle of the week. You don't want to relax too much if you got work to do, but all right, so quality is good. We are good. People are popping in, so I figured let's get started. So, what am I doing here? Why did I call you all here? So, I don't know if you've heard, but we launched a new product on Monday called Gorilla Grade LUTs, and we're really excited about this tool because, well, number one, it's our very first kind of non-Cinema 4D tool, which is a bit of a stretch for us. We're dipping our toe into some of these other waters. We all use After Effects, we all use Photoshop, we all use other programs to do compositing, editing, and whatnot. So it's really not a big stretch for us. We use these tools all the time. So for us to kind of develop something for these other platforms is really kind of a natural step for us, I think. So that being said, what is Gorilla Grade LUTs? Well, it'd probably be easier if I just went to our website, literally, and just kind of showed you. I'm sure you've all seen it, and it's not very exciting to look at a website, but I do think it's important for you to understand like what we're showing on the website because, and let me just switch over to this and hide that, and oh look, I'm not online at the moment. That's because I'm doing a live stream. So if you go to the page and you look at it, you can see pretty quickly here, we got this nifty little before and after thing, and we explain a little bit about what Gorilla Grade LUTs are. So a LUT file is basically a conversion file. So all it's doing, it stands for lookup table, and what it does is it takes a color value and it transforms it into a different color value. Like, let's say a LUT might turn white to slightly gray, or might turn red to blue. So it's really just kind of a way to capture a color grade. And that's what we did. We put together 100 different looks, and these are look LUTs, and I'll explain the difference between that and like a regular LUT in a minute. But so these are different look LUTs, and we've created looks that we've kind of developed over the years, and we've made these LUTs off of stuff that we've done. So what's interesting about that is that we captured our looks and kind of wrote them to these different LUT files. So that's what Gorilla Grade LUTs is all about. You're getting 100 different looks that myself and Nick and other colorists that contributed these looks to. That's what you're getting. You're getting a lot of different color grade looks. And the best part about it is like almost every application now can actually read a LUT file. So And for instance, you got Foundry, Nukes, obviously a big one. That one can actually load LUTs pretty easily. We actually show that on the website here. If you go down here, you can actually see these quick starts and understand a little bit how it works. If you're an After Effects user, you can kind of go and check out how it works in After Effects. If you're a Nuke user, you can just toggle over here and see how it works in Nuke. If you're a Fusion user like myself, you can see how it works in Fusion. So yeah, I mean, anything that takes a LUT file is going to be able to use these. But you know, there's a few things to remember. We kind of figured a lot of people would use them in After Effects, Photoshop, and Premiere, which is why we created preset files to work in Photoshop, Premiere, and After Effects. So it's a little bit easier to work with these in those three programs just because you can look at, I'm going to show you actually why I think it's a lot of fun, but it's a little bit more of a click process and auditioning your looks very quickly. And then in Nuke, obviously you have to load it in as a LUT file as well as if you're doing it in Resolve or something like that. So let's start with the most basic. Let's start with Photoshop. So in Photoshop, I'm going to show you the Gorilla Grade LUTs working in a photograph and then on a 3D render. So the first thing that I'll do is I'm going to use some of these photos that my buddy Paul Schneider took. Fantastic photos, and these are not graded. All these photos are before any sort of color correction was done. So they're very much, straight out of the camera. Still beautiful, still really great looking. Okay, once you've installed the Gorilla Grade LUTs, all you need to do in Photoshop is come over to the Adjustments tab here and click on the Color Lookup. And from there, you just have this little Properties menu that pops up, and you can see we've got all these GSG LUT presets already loaded up. We've installed them. Everything's here. I mean, there's a ton of them. Well, there's 100 to be exact. So how easy is this? You can actually just select the first one, which is part of the basic group. And we've got basic, we've got black and white, we've got cinematic, which were taken from actually some of Chris and I's favorite movies. We created these looks based on these movies. And then we've got everyday, which is kind of my go-to for doing everyday stuff. Like I'll show you some of these are my favorites actually. And then specialty, which tends to be a little bit more softer, a little bit more warm, and I don't know. You'll just have to look at some of them. So let's go through them. Okay, so let's start with basic, and I'm just going to select this top one. And in Windows, what's great is that you can actually just select that top one and then just use your arrow key to start toggling through these different looks, and it's super fast. And these are, like I said, these top ones are basic. So some of them are just like warming up the highlights, warming up the shadows, cooling down the shadows, raising the shadows. So these are very basic looks. Some of the more extreme looks are the Alien movie look, or maybe the Arctic Splendor. It's actually kind of a cool look for this. In fact, I would probably dial it down. And that's the great thing about using this as an adjustment layer, is that you can then just dial down the opacity of that adjustment layer. Let's bring it back up to 100 just so we can kind of really see what's going on. And again, I'm just going to grab that LUT and I'm just going to arrow down to some more. So let's see. Oh, that's actually kind of nice. This is a cinematic blockbuster. It's kind of a grade that I made to look like your summer blockbuster movie kind of a look. It kind of warms up the highlights and just lifts the blacks just a little bit and puts a little bit of green in the mids, which is kind of like that summer blockbuster look. Another one of my favorite cinematic looks is, let's see, I enjoy the Oh Brother one, which is kind of like the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Now this one is probably a bit strong, so I'd probably bring it down quite a bit in the opacity to something like that. Or if you want to try some of my favorites, which is the Everyday series, you can literally see, like this one I use a lot, The Age of Aquarius, all crunched out, which is basically, just a contrasty kind of look. This one warms up the shadows a little bit. But my absolute favorite is, it's kind of a joke, an inside joke. It's called Everyday, which is kind of my go-to. It drops the highlights down a little bit, makes them a little bit warm, lifts the blacks just a little bit, not much, but enough to make a difference. So now I can just toggle. This is before and this is after. Okay, so that looks pretty cool on that one. We've got this kid shot here. Let's see what we can do with this kid. Let's go ahead and throw an adjustment layer on here. Let's pick one of our looks. In fact, I'm going to come down into the specialty looks because we haven't touched those yet. And let's try after school special. Nah, not really feeling that. Nah, not feeling that, not feeling that. Nah, that's not too bad. Beach haze isn't bad, but I need something else. I need actually, I'm going to create another adjustment layer. I'm going to go ahead and turn this one off. And in this top one, I'm going to pick one of my other favorites, which is called magazine cover, which is kind of just a real contrasty, saturated look. I'm going to drop that down, and now I'm going to turn on my other look that I had, and maybe turn it down just a little bit, maybe something in here. And so you can start to see how you can stack these LUTs too. You don't have to just use them one at a time, and they don't have to be all the way on either. So let's just grab a last one here, and in this last one, I'm actually just going to go into my basic, and I'm going to do a warm faded black, which is just going to lift the blacks up a little bit. Now it's still a bit too saturated for my taste, and that's coming from my first LUT, so I'm just going to bring that down a little bit. And now you can see if I do like a before and after on this, this is where we were, and this is where we ended up. So it's really quick and fast and easy way to get a good look and kind of bring your entire image together. So that's a photo, but here's a 3D render taken from the promo video that I made for Gorilla Grade LUTs. And you can see that it works just as well against a render as it does against a photo. So let's just find another one here. Let's just grab, I don't know, warm fuzzies. Actually, that's kind of a good one. So I'm going to do warm fuzzies, and then I'm going to add another one, and this one's just going to be a basic. And this one I'm going to do a cool creamy white to that. So it just kind of gives it a little bit of a vintage kind of vibe. So here it is after. Here's before the color grade, and here's after Gorilla Grade LUTs. So easy enough. All right, so well, that's Photoshop. That's really not a big deal, but if you wanted to achieve the same exact look in, let's say, After Effects, could you do that? Yes. So here we are in After Effects. Well, you know what? Before I move on from Photoshop, let me just check. I'm actually just going to check the chat to see if we had any questions about using Gorilla Grade in Photoshop. So I'm going to hit the chat here. Oh, how much is that? Well, okay, Gorilla Grade LUTs, we're running an introductory deal right now. It's $69 if you buy it right now, and you get 100 different looks. After this coming Monday, the price jumps up to $100, which is still a pretty good deal. It's like $1 a look. But yeah, they're very, very versatile. So I'm not seeing any questions. Somebody asked, is there any difference between this and Red Giant looks? I would say the biggest difference between what these looks are and what Red Giant looks is Red Giant looks are actually part of their look suite, you know, and they have like all the different doodads and controls in After Effects. These are just purely LUT files that you can bring with you into any program that accepts it. So you could be working with an editor, and they could use the same LUT file that you're working within After Effects, which is really great, so that your stuff matches and whatnot. And well, of course, I'm going to say that I think our looks are awesome, and I'm not saying their looks aren't awesome. I'm just saying our looks are a little bit more subtle and a little bit more like I don't know. In my opinion, they're a little less like action filmy and a little bit more warm and kind of fun, I guess. Okay, so let's jump into how it works in After Effects. Okay, so here we've got some footage that my buddy Brad shot of a woman standing on a road. And we're going to apply a very similar look. Actually, you know what? For this shot, we'll probably do something completely different because it's a person with skin tones and whatnot. So how do they work in After Effects? Well, if you've installed them correctly, all you need to do is create an adjustment layer, which is, I'm just going to use the hotkey, which is Control-Alt-Y. Create an adjustment layer there. And I'm going to jump over to my effects and presets. And I'm just going to start to type in GSG. And let's make this a little bit wider so we can see. So you can see we've got these presets that we've made. You don't have to do it this way. You could load them through Lumetri normally, just like you would any other LUT file, but we've got these presets that make it a little bit easier to work with. So I'm going to select my adjustment layer, go over to my effects tab, and now I'm just going to double click, and I'm just going to double click and find a look that I like. And let's see, that's a bit heavy, and that's a heavy, that one's too heavy too. I'm gonna try something maybe in the gallery photos, kind of another nice look. And as long as I have this adjustment layer selected and I have the apply color LUT preset selected, I don't have to hit undo and grab a new preset. I can just actually double click and it's gonna overwrite anything that I do. So let's try Hazy Heat, that's a nice one. Painterly, that's actually I really dig this one. In fact, I'm gonna save that one. I'm gonna turn that off and grab a new adjustment layer, and we're gonna try a different look. And this time let's grab one of the black and white looks, like maybe the photography class. She gets a little bit lost in this one because there's so much going on with the highlights. So let's try maybe something different, maybe Saturated Summer or Tasty Crunch. Actually, that's not bad. So let's go ahead and grab a snapshot of this, and if I can remember what that is. Okay, snapshotting there. And let's turn off that, and let's just kind of A/B this. Yeah, that's actually a really good look for this shot, and it's a good start. I would probably definitely grade it more, but it gets you somewhere fast, which is nice. So let's go back and look at some of the other footage that I've got here. I've also got, let's see, let's grab these this binocular shot. So this binocular shot is interesting because is it this one? Or maybe it's this one. Binoculars rotate. Okay, I think this shot is in the live action promo. Okay, here we go, yeah. Okay, so I shot this on my phone. Okay, so this is from my Google Pixel. And you know, it's decent. It takes great photos, takes good video, and so let's try something with this. Let's use this. Let's do a I don't know, let's go 50%. Actually, we'll just go fit, and that'll work. All right, so let's grab an adjustment layer, Control Y. Let's jump over here. We're gonna grab this one. Let's try that black and white look. Let's try the, ooh, yeah, no, it's gonna blow out. There's too many like highlights blowing out there. But we could do something maybe like Mailroom Ick, which is kind of a bit heavy, but this kind of has that like, I was going for like a fluorescent basement office kind of vibe for this one. I'm not feeling it on this shot. Maybe like a everyday simple milky works. And then, or actually, filmic outdoor. Yeah, this kind of brings a little bit of warmth to those highlights. And then I'm gonna grab another adjustment layer and just go into our basic looks and just do like a contrasty on that. And it should apply, there we go. So let's take a look at where we started on this shot. And again, you know, I would probably take a lot more time with this, but we're just trying to get a look really quick and easy. So let's snapshot this before, and let's take a look at it after. And so this is where we started, coming off of my Google Pixel. I just shot it on a walk outside my house. And just applying the Gorilla Grade LUTs, you're able to get a really cinematic, subtle, you know, I think pretty darn nice looking look very, very simply and easily. And because they're adjustment layers, you can actually tone them down just by changing the opacity of these. So if I wanted to maybe, you know, reduce the effect of that first layer, that first adjustment layer, just bring it down there. Really, really easy. So I don't think I have any renders in this particular comp, but it's the same kind of, actually, wait, I might. Let me see. No, I don't. But it's the same process. If you had a 3D render, it's also good for that. So yeah, again, it's super easy to use. And if you kind of look at what the adjustment layer is doing, it's actually, let me just see, it's really no different. You could do this a different way. You could just turn these off. And if you wanted to, you could apply the Lumetri, I believe it's called. I can't pronounce this right. Lumetri? Sure, Lumetri sounds right. So if you wanted to not use the presets and you wanted to load it as an actual file, you could do that here as well, just using the Lumetri. Jeez, man, I'm butchering that thing. input LUT, and you could actually just browse to wherever you have those LUTs, our Gorilla Grade LUTs stored, and you could bring it in and work with it right here in the Lumetri color as well. But the presets are kind of a nice way to kind of quickly click through and see what you got going on. So I'm going to jump back into the chat and see if we have any questions. Oh yeah, you could, if you want, if you're a Magic Bullet user, I think they have a thing called LUT Buddy that it will work with as well. Anyway, yeah, it's not, I mean, that's the thing about, LUTs is they're really powerful, but they're like ridiculously simple at the same time to use. And what I love about the Gorilla Grade LUTs is that there's a lot of different looks, and I can just quickly, even if I know I'm going to tweak it more later, I can just like set a basic look on it and then like show it to a client or show it to share it online or whatnot, and then go back and tweak it later. But it's a really easy and quick way to like set a look on something, whether it's a photo or a render or something you shot with your phone or GoPro footage or drone footage. In fact, one of our beta testers used it on some drone footage, and it definitely helps. And if you're not a color person, but you don't want your drone footage to look, flat and boring, this is a good way to kind of do that. So last but not least, let's check out Gorilla Grade LUTs working in Premiere, which is kind of where I've been using it the most because I've been doing a lot of these promo videos for this product. So here I've got just that same render, but then I also buttered it up against this footage that I shot with my phone. And I guess I'll just do the footage with my phone first because that's kind of the most interesting, because I wasn't really sure how this footage was going to turn out, and it being like one of the first times I shot video with my Google Pixel, I wasn't really I didn't know what to expect. So here we've got our footage, and we're going to apply the same sort of process that we do in After Effects. I'm going to come over to my my media browser here, and I'm going to grab a adjustment layer. And yep, I'm just gonna say okay. I'm gonna drag this adjustment layer into my scene, and I'm just gonna stretch it over the length of my clip. And now with that adjustment layer selected, all I need to do is go over to the effects, and once I've installed the presets, I can just again type GSG, and then I can just click on the first folder. And what's cool about Premiere is that Premiere is gonna show you these like little thumbnails of these LUTs applied to this image of this kind of strange 1980s looking I don't know, ambiguous person with some color charts. But yeah, it's kind of a cool way to kind of see what the looks are doing before you apply them. And it's the same process as if you were to do it in After Effects. So if you wanted to, I don't know, come down to the, let's grab the Everyday series, and you're walking through this and you're like, oh yeah, you know what, this one's kind of cool, the everyday, just double click it and it applies it directly to your adjustment layer. Now this one's a little bit different. You can't just keep double clicking because it will keep adding more and more of these to your adjustment layer. So what I usually do is I keep my finger on the Control and Z, and I just undo that application of that particular LUT, and then I just kind of find another one. Oh, this one's kind of cool. It's not really enough. So let's do Everyday Pro Color. Nah, not that. Let's try this one. Actually, this is kind of cool. This is kind of a teal, has kind of a bluish teal kind of vibe to it. What's great then is that it's applied it as a LUT in the Lumetri color here, and so you still can adjust it as much as you want right here in Premiere. You can adjust the exposure, the contrast, whatnot. In this particular shot, I'm actually going to jump down to the Vignette tool and just give it a little bit, not a positive 5%, but a negative 5%, and that's still way too much, -1, I'd say. So something like this. All right, so now we've got an interesting kind of look going, and we can see what it looks like without it, and here it is with the look. And it's super fast. It didn't really, in fact, I might just be able to hit spacebar. We'll see. Yeah, it's just going to play it down. It didn't even have to really render it, which is fantastic. So that is Gorilla Grade LUTs working in Premiere. It's really pretty simple, and I mean, there are so many looks. In fact, I really want to show you the black and white look because it's one of my favorites, and we're going to put it against, this actually looks kind of cool against these Nikon cameras. This is a 3D render that I did for the promo using Cinema 4D and Arnold. Let's turn off that look. Let's grab a new adjustment layer, and let's grab adjustment layer and hit OK, and we're just going to drive this up top and put this over that clip. Yep, that's fine. Okay, so for this one, I want to grab those black and white looks. So I'm going to find that black and white look that I wanted to show you before, which is going to be the photography class. This is one of my favorites, actually. Let's see, did that take? I'm not sure if it did. Let's try it again. Yeah, there we go. So I love this look. It just looks like a print that I would have made in college when I was doing a lot of like actual, film and film processing. It just has that fall off that really nice black and white film has. The blacks are a little bit raised, so it kind of feels like it's almost sitting on paper. I really like this look. It's kind of a cool, actually it does look kind of cool over that shot too. It's kind of spooky. Anyway, so that is Gorilla Grade LUTs working in Photoshop, in Premiere, and in After Effects. And I could show you it working in Fusion, but I don't know how many of you are actually using Fusion. So yeah, so hit me with questions. What do you guys got any questions? I mean, it's pretty straightforward stuff. But yeah, like I said, they're on sale for $69. You get 100 different looks. You get presets that work with Photoshop, After Effects, and Premiere, but like I said, the LUT files will work in anything beyond that. So anything that can load a 3D LUT, it will be able to work with these. Somebody did ask about log I saw earlier. So these LUTs are not designed to work with log because they're look LUTs. And the difference between a look LUT and a LUT that you might work with in log is that these are kind of like built for just doing looks. So you're already in a Rec 709 or sRGB space, maybe like me shot stuff on your phone or whatever. So that's what these are made for. If you want to work with them in log, you could convert your footage from log to Rec 709 or sRGB and then apply them. And maybe if we get enough requests for log versions, maybe we'll do log versions at some point. But yeah, so that's kind of the reason why we went this way, is just that we work a lot. We don't work a lot in log, so that's just kind of where we started with this product. Let's see. Any free GSG LUTs to try out? We don't have any free ones. That's the second time somebody's asked. I think maybe I will do that, because I think that it's one of those things where if you've never used them before, sometimes just using it can kind of make you feel more comfortable with them. So yeah, maybe next week I will kind of choose one out of the list and drop it for free. For people to check out. But it's a really, like I said, man, I use these all the time. I've been using them. Actually, I think I demoed them first at SIGGRAPH last year, and it's just been, it hasn't been part of our release cycle until now, so now we can finally release them. So they've been in use in almost everything that I've been working on, and things that Chris and Nick and other people at GSG have been putting out. They've been using them on stuff and just not being able to talk about them. So yeah. How do they look on Octane? They look fantastic. They look anything. I mean, they're gonna just sweeten your render. They're just gonna sweeten and make it look better. And it's again too, though, it's all a matter of taste. So whatever you're into, you'll be able to find something that, if you're going for like a cool sci-fi look, we have a lot of like really awesome looks in there for that. If you want to do something like warm and photographic, obviously we've got those covered. There's a good mix of looks that I think are useful, I think, to people. Yeah, so seeing any other questions here. Hit me with questions. Otherwise, I think we pretty much wrapped up everything that I wanted to talk about. Hopefully everybody's having an awesome week and having a nice Wednesday evening or afternoon, no matter, depends on where you are, I guess. It's what, like 5 something here? All right, well, Again, Gorilla Grade LUTs, $69, only $69 until Monday, March 20th. And then the price is going to go up to the original price, which is 99 bucks for 100 looks. So yeah, go over the website, check out the videos, check out the before and after stills. Hit us if you have any questions. Thanks for coming, and we will see you next time, and catch you later.